But it's back to you guys.
All right, Mark, back-to-back games for both teams tonight. The Trailblazers played on the road last night at Los Angeles and lost. Denver played at home against the Knicks and won. And there you see their records in the second game of back-to-backs. Joe DeRosa, Bill Spooner, and Anthony Jordan are the officials, and this one is underway with the Nuggets controlling the tip.
It's strange how the season works out and series work out. Last year, Portland and Denver played the most important game of their season close to the end of the year, with Denver winning the game to make the playoffs when Portland was chasing. They're now both trying to find ways to make the playoffs, get some sort of rhythm. So two teams in the same hole. You got a shovel?
No, I don't have one, but I do know this. On February 2nd, here in Portland, Snapper Jones walked out of his house today, saw his shadow, and said, I got a home game.
The Groundhog Day today? That means what? That we're going to have good weather for the rest of the spring?
I just want good basketball. Kenyon Martin over the top to Carmelo Anthony. And Buckner goes back outside to Andre Miller. We played a minute. Miller fires.
George Karl says Andre Miller is actually running the show. He's still trying to get acclimated to what his team does best, but he's in love with his big guys and hopes that his little guys will do the right thing and keep beating him.
Ruben Patterson against Anthony. Stolen by Carmelo Anthony. Camby leaves it outside for Andre Miller. Denver 20 and 25 after their 3 straight wins. Off the ball, we get a whistle. George Karl coming in, 17th season as an NBA head coach. And they have won their first 3 games with him at the helm. Anthony on the miss. Camby the offensive rebound. And a 4-0 Denver lead.
What Portland can't afford to do is give Denver second opportunities, give them an early lead, and give them some belief that they can win this ball game and win it rather easily. So Portland's got to come out and really make it difficult for the Nuggets to score. Nice
good play to Chris Bella from Stoudemire.
Now, that is the style of play that Maurice Cheeks has seen his team display. Even though they've been losing, that's what he wants them to buy into. And when they play that way, they're very competitive. They shoot a high percentage. Everybody touches the ball. But, you know, there's one-on-one, and that changes all of that.
10 on the shot clock for Miller. Camby from out front. Marcus Camby with 4 points already.
Camby is a very good spot-up shooter. You can't give him that kind of room and space. He makes those shots consistently.
Stoudemire gets inside and draws the foul on the active shooting. Andre Miller called for the foul. Maurice Cheeks, 4th season as Trailblazers head coach. You know, through it all, he's got a pretty good record here.
No, he's done well. I mean, he's had to deal with a lot of storms and a lot of trials and tribulations, but he's a very positive individual, and he's trying to put the most positive spin on this last situation that he can and figure out a way to get his team to buy into a team concept. So, Maurice, if you say his strength, it would be the fact that he's very, very resilient.
Damon Stoudemire with his first point of the game. And he's got that second one down. Stoudemire went over the 10,000 mark in career points last night in Los Angeles. Stoudemire just a couple of weeks ago had a career high 54 points, a Blazer team record. And that's Kenyon Martin with his first field goal. Here's Ruben Patterson on the attack, and a reach-in foul called on Carmelo Anthony. First foul on Carmelo Anthony. So we're underway here at the Rose Garden in Portland. You glad to be home, Snapper?
But it's always good to be home, and it's nice that you told me it was Groundhog Day, and now I know what to expect for the rest of the winter, right?
Good basketball. Remember that. We're hoping for at least 6 more weeks of good basketball. Ruben Patterson has been perhaps the most consistent of the Blazers this season.
Well, the reason that Cheeks says that is his competitive spirit. Every single game, he brings the energy and the effort that's necessary to try to win a game. He has toned down his own desire to be the star, and he's trying to find different ways to be a member of the team. And Cheeks has said from day one, this is what I want the rest of you to emulate.
Over the top, intended for Anthony, but it's a 3-second violation, turning the ball over to Portland. The Trailblazers 10-9 at home, 17-26 overall this year. They have dropped 8 of their last 10. Nick Van Exel pressured by Buckner.
And through all of that losing, what Portland has found, particularly with their guards, that they found a rhythm for them to shoot the ball and pass the ball better.
Van Exel on the miss. Loose ball rebound to Patterson. Nice feed inside to Ratliff. Theo with his first field goal. Andre Miller at the point. Stoudemire guards him. Anthony trying to shake Patterson. And the corner look by Buckner is in. It's a deep 2 for Greg Buckner. That's the one part of the game that Denver does not do well, shoot the long ball. 28th in the league in three-point field goal attempts.
That doesn't mean they don't shoot, though. They keep shooting. If they're 28th, then they think that they're a pretty good long ball shooting team.
Although George Karl was telling us today that either the first or second game he coached, they only took 2 threes. He said he can't remember the last time he had a team that only attempted 2 three-point field goals. Kenyon Martin takes it away. He and Miller in transition, and Miller finishes. 12-8, and now it's Portland running the other way. Brisbella. Out front to Damon Stoudemire. The shot clock at 10. Theo Ratliff. Around Anthony. Marcus Camby with the Denver rebound.
Hard to believe that Ratliff doesn't finish that play, but he tried to come back and curl it and ran it right off the front rim, but they're trying to post up and take advantage of Carmelo Anthony defensively.
Out of bounds to the Blazers. Log on to the NBAstore.com where you can gear up for the 2005 All-Star Game in Denver. Get your All-Star t-shirts and hats now at NBAstore.com. 2 weeks from this weekend, the All-Star Game in Denver, the All-Star Weekend. 9 on the shot clock.
One of the things that Denver does, and it'll get them in trouble, is stand. And when they start standing, then they have no ball movement. They end up playing from the edges, and opponents have a tendency to either stay with them or pull away from them.
That time they got no rim. So
you had to mention that.
It's out of bounds to Portland.
Just a minor detail, huh?
Now, would that fit into the category that George Karl was talking about earlier today, forced shot? That's Van Exel.
No. What he talked about earlier today was the fact that they get themselves in that situation where they stand, and now they have no movement, and then they end up with that shot that touches nothing.
But, I mean, they keep track of those kinds of attempts. Kenyon Martin from out front. 4 points for Martin, and the Nuggets are back to a 4-point lead. Denver plays at home on Saturday against Golden State, and Charlotte is here on Friday to take on the Blazers. 8 to shoot. Stoudemire backs up. Greg Buckner on the advance. Taken away from Anthony by Stoudemire. Damon Stoudemire going all the way through. Brisbella just now getting set up for the offense.
Well, the guard set the table for the Trailblazer offense, Van Exel.
That's a 3 for Van Exel. The Trailblazers are within 1. Nick Van Exel shooting just under 40% from 3 on the season. 10 to shoot for the Nuggets. Up ahead to Ruben Patterson. blocked off the glass by Anthony. No goaltend. And Andre Miller's scoring. He's got 6. A lot of up and down here in this first quarter. Van Exel on the miss. Rebound to Miller. Andre Miller leaves it to Canby. And Canby is fouled. And a timeout taken. A foul called on Canby. And a timeout with 4:19 left.
February may be the presentation of NBA Wednesday. Brought to you by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. And Nicorette Fresh Mint Gum. Start chewing, start quitting.
Well, Steve Jones tells me that was the Willamette River we had a look at, peering in on the Rose Garden. A Denver lead, and the Portland Trailblazers with a tough January, really digging themselves into a hole. A trail of tears, partner.
Look at that wagon master. He's got a trail of tears just with a tough ride, but a very difficult month of January, not only at home but away. The loss of Randolph and Raheem combined power punch scoring attack, and the numbers fell off dramatically as a result, but they've come up with a formula that is producing a team unity and attitude where they feel they can compete, so they're looking for a bright February. Where's that groundhog?
Sharif Abdur-Rahim on the injured list. Things might be a little different if Sharif Abdur-Rahim were available. Ball knocked loose, and it goes out of bounds. The Blazers will have it. George Karl's club has been guilty of 4 turnovers so far. Took 3 seconds off the game clock and the shot clock, and now the Trailblazers have it in play, but that's 3 less to get it across the timeline. They do. Stoudemire for 3. And Ruben Patterson tracks down the loose ball. Tries to hand to Priscilla, knocked loose, stolen by Stoudemire, but it's a reach-in foul on Ruben Patterson.
Well, Ruben trying to hustle out of that mistake. Once he got down in the lane after that solemn drive, he thought about scoring and didn't realize maybe I should pass, and it was too tight, and he makes his first mistake of the night. Zach Randolph peeling off his warm-ups and will make his first appearance.
Zach Randolph, who did not have a field goal last night in Los Angeles in 12 attempts. Pass to Anthony, knocked loose. And the Blazers have the steal. It's Van Exel attacking on Canby. And he went at him wide and was able to get the shot down.
Canby was trying to track to see who was behind him, and Van Exel took advantage of that and got it high on the glass.
That's 7 straight points for Nick Van Exel. 3:25 for the quarter. Kenyon Martin. Cleared by Ratliff. A hoop puts Portland in front. Here at the Rose Garden tonight, Jim Durham with Steve Jones and Mark Jones, and glad to have you with us as the Portland Trailblazers are hosting the Denver Nuggets. Ball loose, and last touch by Stoudemire as it goes out of bounds to Denver.
Marcus Camby is a lone defender, and he's got to make a decision, so he decides to go back. And then Van Exel said, you should never do that. Not with a guy like me.
That's the thing about Van Exel. He's always been very creative offensively, and that's why a guy 6'1" can take it in against a shot blocker like Canby and still score. Nene in the lineup for Denver, number 31. Canby with 8 to shoot. Thrown away on a pass intended for Miller. He said it was deflected out. A timeout taken and a 1-point lead for the Nuggets here at the Rose Garden. Well, the Denver Nuggets trying to make it 4 straight wins tonight and have a 1-point lead here in the first quarter. George Karl adding a new chapter to his coaching career. Started his playing days in college at North Carolina with Dean Smith. in the ABA and the NBA with the Spurs in the 70s. Coaching career began with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He also had a stint with the Golden State Warriors, Seattle Supersonics, the Milwaukee Bucks. But obviously the highlight of his career, Snapper, had to be sitting in that analyst chair.
And working with you.
Look at that panel.
But Carl has had some outstanding seasons and done really very good work in turning franchises around that have struggled and made an appearance in the NBA Finals. So he's a coach that has some experience in difficult situations, and his hands are full. He's got 3 straight wins. He's got them leaning in his direction. But watch out if the wind changes direction.
You know, the other thing that he has too, Snapper, is while they've been very busy to this point, there will be 3 days off between tonight and their next game, and then another 3 days off and their game after that. And if you're a coach, all you can ask for is to get your club onto the practice floor. They'll be able to do that. Stoudemire on the miss.
Ratliff missed on that throwdown after the Stoudemire miss, but what they're trying to do with Zach Randolph, who was their primary scorer, and when the ball went to Zach, it usually went up. They're trying to get him to be more of a ball movement, player movement scorer. We'll find out whether he adjusts.
And Ratliff takes it away from Anthony. Again, the Blazers looking for the lead, and Van Exel has been hot and remains so. That's 9 straight points for Nick Van Exel.
Had the same kind of third quarter down against the Lakers last night, and it was only enough to keep the Blazers close. Miller again.
Andre Miller has had that avenue to the rim a lot in this first quarter. 8 points for Andre. The Nuggets back up by 1. Earl Boykins, who's in, guarding Stoudemire. Randolph over the top. Zach Randolph making the pass, and it's Nick Van Exel scoring again.
So Zach Randolph will freeze that moment, and he will say to the coach, don't ever say, I don't make passes for assists.
10 to shoot. Camby.
You got to make a move. If you let Camby set his feet and get that nice little rhythm, he's going to knock that shot down. That's a third one here in the first quarter. All of them, no one within 5 feet.
Less than a minute for the opening quarter. The Trailblazers need a hoop to regain the lead. Randolph. And lost out of bounds by Camby. Friday night, ESPN with an NBA doubleheader. It starts at 7 Eastern. Nowitzki and the Mavs against Jermaine O'Neal and the Pacers. Then Kevin Garnett and the Timberwolves look to turn things around at home, and they host Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming, and the Houston Rockets. That game also on ESPN in high definition. Telfair is in the game now, the rookie point guard for Portland. Randolph
has now missed 14 straight shots, and he's wondering when that goose egg is going to collapse and he'll finally get something to go in. But this is a different Zach Randolph than started the season.
10 on the shot clock. Boykins with 4 to shoot. Anthony short, but it's followed in. Brian Russell caught it and scored before the shot clock buzzer went off. Van Exel. Nick Van Exel with 11 points on 5 of 8 from the field to lead the Trailblazers, but still they're down by 3 after 1. The Denver Nuggets trying to win their 4th in a row. Come in and grab the early lead at the Rose Garden and quiet the crowd.
With a 3-point lead back here for the start of the second quarter, 22-19. Mark Jones courtside along with the general manager of the Portland Trailblazers, John Nash. John, with reference to the act of insubordination by Darius Miles, there are some. How would you answer the critics who say that the punishment was too lenient?
Well, I think that I've been in this business a long time, and we had an internal family spat. It's unfortunate, frankly, that it became public, and it wasn't without giving some serious thought to what had taken place and doing some investigation before we levied the penalty. So, you know, the critics can say what they like, but it was out of character for Darius, and I think he's apologized at this stage, and we're just happy to have him back.
You guys have tried tirelessly to clean up some of the public relations problems that you've had in the past. How much of a setback, if at all, is this?
Well, I think anytime you have any kind of public spat, as we just had, it is a setback, but it is part of life. And just as in every family, you have some disagreements from time to time that get a little ugly. This was an unfortunate situation, but I think at this point, both Coach Cheeks and Darius have put it behind them, and, you know, we're just delighted to move forward.
At this point, how much confidence is there in the head coach, Mo Cheeks?
Oh, I don't think anybody has any doubt whatsoever that Maurice has done an incredibly good job. Our record in January wasn't very good, but we were playing without three of our best players because of injury: Zach Randolph, Darius Miles, and Sharif Abdur-Rahim. And we were competitive every night, despite the fact that we didn't win so many games.
John, the trade deadline coming up in just a couple of weeks. You guys have a number of expiring contracts, big tickets too. How much movement do you expect before the trade deadline?
Well, I've read where some of my colleagues think that it's going to be very active. I don't think it's quite as active as it was a year ago, and we did make two trades, one in January, one in February last year. We're hopeful anytime you have an opportunity to improve the ball club, either short or long term, you have to explore it. And I thought we got relatively close to trades earlier this year, but we'll probe and explore and try and determine if we can make a deal. But I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other at this point.
All right, John, thanks a lot for joining us, and stay by that phone.
Nice to have you out of the sunshine of Miami.
Oh, back to you guys, Steve Jones and Jim.
Well, hey, Portland had sunshine today, Snapper.
Well, it was an absolutely gorgeous day today, but, you know, Mark Jones lives in that kind of weather all of the time.
So he probably didn't even notice.
No, he had his overcoat on, did you notice? That was a little bit too chilly for the guy from Florida, and he's from Canada. Boykins with the first free throw, and both teams make some changes on the fly. Miles came in the ball game along with Randolph and Theo Ratliff to start the second quarter. Miles hit a couple of jump shots, so he's feeling good, and Zach Randolph finally got off the snide.
Now you've got Boykins guarding Stoudemire.
Now, what will be interesting to see is now you've got their skill players, Randolph and Miles, in the ball game. How much ball movement, player movement they have, as that one is blocked.
Nene ate up Randolph on that one. Boykins slips through, leaves it for Martin. And it's an open shot for Russell. Brian Russell.
And it is funny how some coaches like some players, and Russell was not playing that much for Jeff Bazdelik. And in comes George Karl, and Karl says, you know, I trust him. He understands me, what I like to do, and he gets a lot more playing time.
Calfair delivers into the post, and a foul on Denver. Randolph will be on the line. Brian Russell called for the foul. And Zach Randolph. He took the collar last night in 12 attempts.
You know, he said before the game he didn't know if he would attempt a shot tonight, but you know what's in his blood? Shooting. You know, he loves that pelota in his hands, and he likes to throw it toward the basket. So he came in, missed his first two, but gets that layup, and now he's got a pair of free throws.
That's surprising because he has always been a good shooter.
Well, every player will reach a moment of truth in terms of having a bad night, and if you continue to press, you can have a donut.
Miles tried to take the charge. It's Boykins for three. Russell with the offensive rebound. Nice delivery to Miller, but wiped out by Priscilla. Randolph in on Nene. And that's the other thing about Zach Randolph. Once he gets one, you can be sure there'll be plenty more to follow. Boykins cleared by Priscilla. The Blazers trying to extend on the lead. Pass knocked loose. The Nuggets to steal. And on the pass off, a foul call. A foul is on Telfair.
Taco Bell takes us to Minnesota, where the Suns just smoked the Wolves.
I think we can officially say that Minnesota is no longer a contender for a championship.
Steve Nash to Amari Stoudemire twice. They outscored the Wolves in the paint by 20, and then they did it from outside as well. Sean Marion drops the three. 108-79. The Suns win. They finished their 6-game road trip 5-1, 8th straight game with at least 10 three-pointers. Raptors beat the Pacers. That's 6 straight losses for Indiana, their first 5-game home losing streak since '86. Back to Jim and Snap.
All right, Matt, and Mo Cheeks said before the game that he was going to play Darius Miles, just like always.
Yeah, Miles is a guy that since he had his injury, has been coming off the bench, and he came in with the thought of putting all negative thoughts behind him, dropped a couple of jump shots, and off to a smart start. 4 points in 3 minutes of play. So Miles is on track, as well as Zach Randolph. They have scored all of Portland's points here in the second quarter.
And the Blazers by 1. Boykins felt a little bump from behind and hits off the glass.
And Boykins is a very, very clever player, so you can't give him any room, and that's what Telfair will have to learn.
Boykins guarding Stoudemire at the other end. Telfair finds Stoudemire. Here's Miles, guarded by Russell. 5 to shoot for Portland. Randolph with the offensive rebound. Zach Randolph with the last 8 for the Blazers.
And a couple of things from both of those players. Miles got a chance to post go inside, and they want to see Zach Randolph on the glass. Last year, a terrific offensive rebounder. Hasn't been doing nearly as much here of late.
Kenyon Martin. And it goes out of bounds to Portland. Carmelo Anthony with a smile over there. His club down by 1 now, but they've led throughout most of the game to this point. 7.5 left in the half. Telfair, nice change of direction on Miller. Mistip Prisbilla. Telfair sends it back to Miles. Darius Miles gets the bounce. That's 6 points for Miles. Nene with a strong move across the lane and a foul on Joel Prisbilla.
Where they want to keep Darius Miles is inside 15 feet because of his ability to use his length and just get the ball over people. Nice little touch. 6 in the quarter for Miles, and the Trailblazers up by 3.
With 7:10 remaining in the half.
ESPN2's presentation of NBA Wednesday. Brought to you by Chevy and American Revolution. Supercharged for 2005.
With Mark Jones and Steve Jones, welcome back to Portland. The Trailblazers have their biggest lead right now at 3. Carmelo Anthony sitting it out, and here's what his coach thinks of him.
Sometimes I think he's gotten emotionally distracted, and when you're not really enjoying the game, where the game seems like it's, pushing you around a little bit, it's hard to be special. He's very good. He is going to be special. It's just time.
Last season, Anthony, 43% from the field, is scoring slightly down, and the field goal percentage slightly down from last year to this year. But the thing about it, Snapper, is the fact that the other 2 players last year to make up the 3 top rookies, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, they've really taken off this year.
No, they have taken off, and I think because there was so much talk about LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony, and all 3 were on the Olympic team, they expected him to do so, but he came in out of condition and somewhat distracted about how he wanted to play and wasn't ready to start the season, upset about the way he was used in the Olympics. this has been a brooding Carmelo Anthony. He was not that way a year ago in his rookie season.
Mark Jones?
Yeah, guys, one of the first things George Karl did when he took the Denver job was meet with his star player, Anthony, for some 30 minutes. He told Melo, and I quote, "Hey, we got to talk. Let's always communicate. We can make something special happen in Denver." Karl says he was surprised by how naive Melo was, but naive, guys, in a very good way. Back to you guys.
He's just a youngster, only the 1 year in college, and then coming into the NBA last year. Zach Randolph hit the side edge. Hasn't quite shaken that 0 for 12 last night.
Well, he did make some other shots in between.
I know that, but he still had a few left in his, got to work out of his system. That's a 3 for Brian Russell. And the Nuggets are back to within 2. Russell's got 5 points in the game. About 5.5 minutes left in the half. 8 to shoot. Calfair off the hesitation, and now the spin. Brzbilla the rebound.
And you see the hesitancy for Calfair, Randolph, and Miles in terms of passing the basketball. They're much better one-on-one players as Portland gets his 3rd attempt at it, but can't control.
Andre Miller on the advance. Quick burst of speed along the base and count the basket and a foul. Joe Brzbilla has his second.
Do you know anyone that chews gum harder or better than Andre Miller? And he does it the entire time while he's playing. A little chomp, hesitation, and the hit, and one.
So a 3-point opportunity coming for Andre Miller. You saw Carmelo Anthony return to the lineup. Zach Randolph going out. Coming up on TNT Thursday, Cleveland at Miami at 8 o'clock Eastern, followed by the Spurs at the Lakers. And then on ESPN Friday, the doubleheader, Dallas at Indiana at 7 o'clock Eastern. Then Houston at Minnesota. NBA TV Saturday, Orlando at Cleveland, 7:30 Eastern. Those games coming up this week in the NBA. Off the ball, Carmelo Anthony got tied up, and he's called for a foul. 2 fouls on Anthony, who has yet to score tonight. Anthony 0 for 5 in the game.
George Karl said that he wants Carmelo Anthony to be more aggressive inside the 3-point line, to try to be more of a driver, less of a jump shooter. And we'll see if he gets going in his second time.
Stoudemire nails the 3. 7 points for Damon Stoudemire and the Blazers with a 3-point lead. Anthony spins free of Patterson. Martin on the follow. 6 points for Kenyon Martin.
Now, one of the things that the Nuggets are doing more of is shuffling the ball. That produces a turnover as Van Exel steals it back.
And then takes and hits the 3. Van Exel with his second 3-point field goal. A 4-point lead for the Blazers. Portland does shoot the 3 very well as a team. 37.5% roughly.
They did not start the season that way, and they struggled as a perimeter team, and then they came up with a system due to injuries that allowed Van Exel and Stoudemire to find their rhythm.
Van Exel again. Van Exel has 16. The Blazers have their biggest lead, and 3:15 left in the half. Anthony still scoreless. 5 to shoot. Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin's had the perimeter shot dropping.
Martin makes that shot, but that is the shot you want him taking. That way you don't have to deal with him on the glass, playing a physical offensive game inside.
Ruben Patterson against Brian Russell. The shot clock at 10. It's Van Exel for 3, and Nick Van Exel has it stuck on automatic. 3 3-point field goals in the half, 19 points scored, and he sends Portland out to its biggest lead.
And the types of three-point shots really determine the quality in that he is wide open and in a good shooting rhythm. Confidence is up.
Up ahead, a long pass from Van Exel to Chris Villa. Van Exel drives on Russell. The rebound to Portland. Ruben Patterson trying to control. It's knocked out of bounds by Denver. 2:01 left in the half, and suddenly the Trailblazers have taken control.
On Matt Weiner, Greg Anthony, and Tim Legler gearing up for the Toyota halftime show. We'll hear from Rudy Tomjanovich and Kobe Bryant on Rudy T's sudden resignation in L.A. And speaking of coaches, our former colleague George Karl getting it done with the Nuggets.
He's been playing extremely well. Not doing quite as well tonight. They haven't gotten Carmelo Anthony involved, nor have they found a way to stop Nick Van Exel.
Oh, you're really looking at two teams going in opposite direction. The Trailblazers right now lost 8 out of 10 games, and Denver won 3 in a row. So these two teams are really searching for identities right now.
And he still believes they're a playoff squad. Jim Snapper, I'll tell you, if nothing else, the Nuggets are eating better than they ever were under Jeff Bzdelik.
Well, I know what this is. This is another edition of Nick at Night. And Van Exel with 19 points already in the half. His season high is 30.
Now, Van Exel has had, in this losing that Portland has been experiencing in January, Van Exel has had some tremendous shooting halves, and he was looking for a deep 3 on that shot.
Whoa. He was beyond the Columbia River on that one, wasn't he, Stafford?
He wanted to show you his range.
Nick Van Exel, who 2 or 3 years ago, his last year with the Mavericks, I mean, he was sensational for them in that playoff run. Whoa! Ratliff got all of that one. And Boykins connected for 3.
7 1/4 for Boykins, and thank you very much for the pass, Theo Ratliff. So good things come from adversity for the Nuggets. Randolph is back in the ball game. Press Villa down, and they will see if they can get a couple of hoops from Zach before they finish.
The pass is deflected. Randolph ends up with it. Got it away just in time, but it didn't hit anything, so a shot clock violation.
You see where Randolph is struggling right now, and he's saying, my bad. But, you know, he's not accustomed to passing the ball. When you pass it to me, it goes up. And both of his passes were a little telegraphed and a little weak. Portland was fortunate to even get a shot up against the shot clock, which did not even get light from you, my friend.
It was so light. It got over the air. 1 minute for the half. Anthony and Camby. Miller off the tip, and Randolph clears. Trailblazers at the 43-second mark for the half and 15 to shoot.
Trying to post.
Nice play to Randolph. Randolph with 10.
10 1/4. Randolph sheds a headband a game as Boykins comes back and said there'll be no posting of needs there.
And that's the second 3 for Boykins.
10 1/4 for him.
Stoudemire guarded by Boykins. 13 to shoot. Roughly 6 difference. Stoudemire trying to take him. Now it's Ruben Patterson. And Patterson was fouled. The foul will put Patterson on the line. Wait and see if the foul was on Martin or Camby. And Martin called for the foul. First foul on Martin. And Ruben Patterson on the free throw line. 59% of the season, but he's made both free throws in this game. 3 for 3 for Patterson. 22nd timeout taken by George Karl.
May as well. You don't get to carry it over, so Karl will have 8.6 seconds after the Patterson free throw, and is trying to draw up a play where maybe they can finish with a little offensive energy.
Coming up, the Toyota halftime show. Back to the studio. Matt Weiner, Greg Anthony, and Tim Legler. They'll have more on Rudy T's resignation. The update on the NHL, and Sammy Sosa is officially an Oriole now. Carmelo Anthony 0 for 6. No points and no rebounds.
This has been an interesting season in the NBA where some primary scorers have experienced scoreless nights from the field. Richard Hamilton had an 0 for 10. Randolph with 0 for 12. Carmelo at 0 for 6 right now. There have been some others this season as well that have not cracked an egg, and I find that hard to believe.
Darius Miles returning for Portland. And he's coming for Theo Ratliff. 8.6 left in the half. Another free throw coming for Ruben Patterson.
23, Darius Miles, Theo Ratliff.
Patterson averaging better than 10 points a game, has 3 free throws to his credit tonight. He called it. It was short. Martin, 4 seconds. The tip won't go. It's cleared by Miles, and we played a half. Kenyon Martin and the Denver Nuggets got off to a pretty good start, but then Nick Van Exel and the Trailblazers came back to get the lead at the half. Portland was down 3 at the quarter. Van Exel with a big first half, and he's with Mark Jones.
Nick, big first half for you. What's been the key with you being able to adjust to this new starting 5 that you guys have sported?
Well, it's me and Damon's type of play. We can come out and have fun. I think the offense flows through us now, so that makes us a lot more comfortable.
Huge first half for you, 19 points. What kind of adjustments do you expect them to make in the second half, and how do you combat that?
They're going to come at me and Damon a little bit more, and they're going to push the ball. So we definitely got to get back in transition and hold those guys to one shot because they're great offensive rebounders.
Zach Randolph still struggling a little bit. How do you get him off offensively here?
Try to get him in pick and rolls where he can set a pick and pop and get some space between his defender. And you know, he's a great offensive rebounder. If he understands he sets pick and rolls, get open, and offensive rebound, it makes his game a lot easier rather than wrestling with those big guys in the paint.
Thanks, Nick. I know you and Kmart got that little Cincinnati thing going tonight. Jim Durham, back to you.
All right, Mark Jones, and for the Trailblazers, a 30-point quarter in the second quarter as they have now taken a 4-point lead at the half. Matt Weiner and the crew will be in the studio for the Toyota halftime show. After these messages, Darius Miles came off the bench to score 6 for Portland in that quarter as well. But it was the guards with Van Exel showing the way.
Welcome to the Toyota Halftime Show.
George Karl in the locker room, no doubt drawing up something to slow down Nick Van Exel at 19 in the first half, and the struggling Blazers with a 4-point lead on the Denver Nuggets. Hi, everyone. It's the Toyota Halftime Show. Matt Weiner along with Greg Anthony and Tim Legler. The Blazers were in Los Angeles last night. The end of the Rudy Tomjanovich era made official this afternoon. Rudy T retiring after just 43 games at the helm of the Los Angeles Lakers, citing personal health reasons unrelated to the bladder cancer which forced him out in Houston. Rudy T took over after Phil Jackson left last summer. Along with Shaq, it was a new beginning for the Lakers, but throughout the season, Tomjanovich said he just couldn't physically continue to coach.
There are no outside influences, be it pressure from above, anything to do with my players, or being here in Los Angeles. This is all about me and how I'm wired. I would go for a walk and think that was an outlet, but all I thought about was basketball while I was walking.
Guys, Rudy T in the first year of a $30 million contract. It's always a shock when a coach walks away of his own accord this early into his career with a team. Are you especially surprised by the reasoning here?
No, I think that's really the only reason you'd probably see a coach leave in a situation like this is because of the pressures. Remember, a lot of people forget this guy is replacing a legend, and he's also going to the most storied job in all of the NBA in terms of a head coach. I don't think there's a job that's thought of in a higher regard. Couple that with the soap opera that has become the L.A. Lakers, and that is a lot to have to deal with.
Yeah, the problem is, I mean, Rudy Tomjanovich is a guy that consumes himself in his job, and that's what's happened here. It's a shame because when I was out there a few weeks ago and talked to him, he was really enjoying coaching this team, and he actually had, incredible amount of praise for Kobe Bryant, saying he was one of the most remarkable athletes he'd ever been around, and it made his job easy and enjoyed working with him. It just was a matter of he is so consumed with what he wants to do and being so competitive and wanting to succeed. It's just not conducive to his own health, and he understands that now. Better to stop it now.
Well, in the minds of many, Kobe Bryant was the scapegoat for the breakup of the Lakers of last summer. Today, Rudy Tomjanovich made it very clear that Kobe Bryant had nothing to do with his decision to leave now.
He did some things that no players had ever done with me before, calling up before the season and talking basketball. He inspired me with his dedication, and it gave me something else to want to really, really win.
Pretty interesting considering the kinds of things Phil Jackson wrote about Kobe Bryant in his book.
It is, and I think that's one of the reasons why Kobe went overboard in terms of trying to make sure he had a relationship with Rudy Tomjanovich, and I think that was helpful to Rudy, but I think also this reminds me a lot of when Jeff Van Gundy left the Knicks. Oftentimes a coach has the best pulse of his team, and he can tell if this team is really going to have a chance to compete long term, and personally I don't think that he felt this team was going to be there and give him a chance to really compete.
Definitely a little bit more work probably than he ever would have envisioned coming into it. But at the same time, I believe what he's saying about Kobe Bryant, because I think Kobe Bryant's a guy that can be manageable in this situation. When he is alpha dog and a bunch of role players, I think he's a guy that really, a guy like Rudy Tomjanovich would enjoy coaching the challenge of that, because he really is truly a great and remarkable talent. And Rudy Tomjanovich getting a chance to coach him coming back into the league, it's a challenge he wanted, but unfortunately it just didn't work out.
In meetings with Mitch Kupchak and Jerry Buss, Kobe has already reportedly said he would be okay if Phil Jackson were to return to the Lakers. And why wouldn't you be? Frank Hamblin will continue to coach the team on an interim basis in L.A. Around the league tonight, the Phoenix Suns coming off a loss in Memphis into Minnesota, and this wasn't much of a game, frankly, because the Suns got right to it early. Steve Nash to Amari Stoudemire. That sounds familiar. Throwing that down, 23 points for Amari, and Amari dunking again. They did it from inside, and the Suns did it from outside. Quentin Richardson. Phoenix 8 of 10 from beyond the line in the third quarter. A 29-point win. They led it by 40 at one point. Denver down by 4 at the break. Earl Boykins doing his part so far. We're back after this.
The Toyota Halftime Show is brought to you by the all-new Toyota Tacoma, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
Zach Randolph coming off of a 0 for 12 night in Los Angeles last night. Considerably better so far. He's 4 for 9, 10 points.
He was 0 for February up until that shot right there.
That's an excellent point. Groundhog Day was not kind to him. His team up by 4. Some news from around the rest of the sports world today. Players and owners representatives met again in the NHL lockout. Union needed just a couple of hours to reject the latest league proposal with time running out. Meanwhile, the Sammy Sosa trade to the Orioles is now official. He's an O after league approval from Bud Selig and passing his physical. Over-under on Sammy Sosa home runs next year.
Over 40.
That's my squad, the Orioles. I'm going to say 45.
I'm a Washington Nationals.
On that first thing, you could just change that to Friday and air it tomorrow night.
Optimistic from Tim Legler. Blazers on top by 4. We're back out to Portland.
The Toyota Halftime Show is brought to you by the all-new Toyota Tacoma, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
Garden, the Trailblazers with a 4-point lead on the Nuggets at the half, 49-45. A lot of stories, Steve Jones. Darius Miles coming back and Zach Randolph coming out of it.
Well, the one thing that represents is flop, flop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. Portland did not have scoring off the bench last night, and with Miles and Randolph, they end up with 16 points between them. And you combine that with what Nick Van Exel has done. They had a great offensive half after a very slow start. So this is a very important second half for Portland and that trio.
As you look at the statistics on the first half, Denver 45 points and 45% from the field. The Blazers 49 points and 45% from the field. 3-point field goals, 3 out of 5 for Denver, 4 of 8 for Portland. And up front, the Trailblazers with the edge there, and also points off turnovers going to the Portland Trailblazers 10-4 in that regard. So the Trailblazers have a chance to claim this first one in these 4 meetings between these two teams. Hard to believe. Here we are, 43-44 games in, and they're playing for the first time.
Well, it is. And the scheduling has been kind of funny for all of the teams. For the first time last night, the Portland Trailblazers make a trek down to Los Angeles. Usually they've gotten it in a couple of times. So the schedule, it may help them in the second half of the season.
As we start the second half, let's check in with Mark Jones.
Yeah, guys, spoke to George Karl just a few moments ago. Says that they have to get Melo involved a little bit more offensively. Says that Portland's crowding him with their best defender, so the task is for Melo to get easy baskets, fast breaks, offensive rebounds. Defensively versus Nick Van Exel, talked about better pick-and-roll defense for his crew, and they're going to switch it up, going to use Buckner and Russell against Van Exel here in the second half. Interesting move, Steve.
Well, that's one of the things George Karl has always been noted for. Changing his defensive assignment, changing his offensive approach. A lot of people like to call it gimmicks. George likes to say, I'm taking advantage of what they give me, and Camby has been doing that the entire first half.
8 points for Camby, and a 2-point lead for Portland. Now it's Buckner on Van Exel.
The one thing that's interesting is not as though Van Exel hasn't seen bigger defenders, smaller defenders. Van Exel is the scorer, and when he's on, and you just have to really leave it out.
Six to shoot as the Blazers come in. Stoudemire for 3. Portland with a chance to tie. They led by as many as 4 in the first half. Denver with a chance to tie. They were up by as many as 4 in the first half. Portland led by as many as 7.
That is what happens, my friend, when you mess with that groundhog.
It's Kenyon Martin.
High ball game, but again, you look at the shots that Camby's taking, Martin is taking. Those are the shots you want them taking. Those are big people playing 18 feet away from the bucket.
Stoudemire leaves it for Van Exel, and he was left alone once again. So even though the defensive assignment changes, the execution defensively does not. Back to a 3-point lead for the Blazers, and we've played a little over 2 minutes here in the third. Buckner fouled in the act of shooting.
The one thing that you always have to be aware of is who has the hot hand. You cannot leave him. Greg Buckner's assignment is to stay with Van Exel. Give up the layup. Let's see if the guy can make the layup. Don't let the guy that just forced you for 19 continue.
And Van Exel with 22 working right now. Buckner with 3 points in the game, 81% free throw shooter.
Buckner is always been a defensive presence and a very physical kind of player, so we'll find out whether any of that concerns Nick Van Exel.
He's been a guy that has had a lot of injuries in his career, and it's usually because he plays bigger than he is. He plays against bigger players around the basket, and oftentimes because of that, will suffer an injury as a result. But now at that 2-guard spot, there's a pass into Prisbilla.
So what you're saying is he needs to learn how to play his dimension.
Or be allowed to. How about the 3 by Buck?
Oh, see. That is playing to his side.
There you go. That's 7 points for Buckner, and the Denver Nuggets have regained the lead with 9:24 left in the third. 54-52 here in Portland. The Denver Nuggets are back on top now at 54-52 and 9:24 left in the third quarter. George Karl earlier today was visiting with us and telling us his idea of his club and what he's seen in the first few games.
It's a unique team. I mean, it can score points, but it scores differently than I've ever scored. It doesn't shoot the three very well. It scores around the basket. It scores with lobs and spins and slips and stuff like that, which is fun. It's a little bit different than most NBA teams, and I think what I've said to them, be free, but get good shots. Don't be selfish.
Play aggressive, play together. And when he talks about that snapper, they score on spins and lobs and stuff. That sounds like Carmelo Anthony's game.
Carmelo Anthony at his best, but we have not seen that on display this evening. Portland done a good job of making him a perimeter player, and as an offensive player, a little bit frustrated. We'll find out whether they bring him into the dance.
Zach Randolph.
Oh, that's Theo Ratliff.
I'm sorry.
It's bad
Theo
enough for Zach, and then you're going to give him others?
Missed that one wide right. 3 minutes into the second half. Ten on the clock for Camby. Miller with 6 to shoot. Andre Miller.
Miller is very good at that particular play. Good hard dribble, pop straight up, and make that shot. He's having a real solid ball game and leads them from the backcourt.
Patterson against Anthony. Tipped out by Prisbilla. Van Exel finds Stoudemire for three right down the pipe. Damon Stoudemire has his second three-pointer.
But you heard Van Exel in the intermission say that the team is now driven by he and Damon Stoudemire. They have very good chemistry between one another. That means I'd be willing to pass the shot to give you a shot. That's what chemistry is.
I got that. I understand that.
Bad chemistry is when you won't give it to me and I'm wide open.
There's a foul called on the inside.
Martin.
Yep. And on Martin. That's his second.
Martin has had a history as a defender of picking fouls up in clusters. Now, he doesn't really have to defend against Ratliff or Prisbilla per se, but he does have to be able to stop that.
Prisbilla with 2 dunks in the game, and the Blazers are back on top.
Prisbilla and Ratliff both play well without the ball, and any offense that's going to run smoothly, you got to have people that are willing to take a lesser role. Again, Miller over the top.
Andre Miller has 14 points tonight, and that's his average. 7:30 left in the third. Van Exel with a lob to Prisbilla. That's his third dunk of the night.
That's all they asked Prisbilla to do, and that has made him a player of note over the last few games. The last 10 ball games, Prisbilla is a double-double guy, high percentage because everything is above the rim, along with a few blocks. Miller again.
Rebounded by Camby, so the Nuggets get another crack at it. Miller against Stoudemire.
The one thing they don't have to do is chase Miller off the double team. Make him continue to have to score. Buckner wide open.
And it rebounds long and out of bounds. Portland has it with a 1-point lead.
The one thing that big guys like are little guys that will give them the ball where they can do something with it. And when Prisbilla can see it and catch it, then all they have to do is drop it in. It's as simple as that.
Miller defending against Van Exel. The shot clock down to 10. Rebounded by Camby. Miller all the way to the hoop. And the Nuggets have taken the lead.
The one thing about defense is you've got to stop the ball. Nobody stops Andre Miller. 6 1/4 for Miller.
16 in the game to go along with 8 assists. Ratliff takes up slack and scores off the hook.
You talked so badly about him when he shot that jumper, he thought he might change his approach.
It was a good choice. Anthony. Finally, Carmelo Anthony is heard from. With less than 6 minutes for the third. Stoudemire against Miller. And that's a three for Damon Stoudemire. 3 threes for Stoudemire, 4 for Van Exel.
And what's interesting about that combination, when they started this season, they could not throw it in the ocean.
Anthony attacking. Knocked out of the air by Chris Miller. Damon Stoudemire near the 5-minute mark for the third. The rebound comes long and controlled by Martin.
Now, Stoudemire's guarding Anthony. They try to take him into post, and Ratliff gives him relief.
And then a foul on Ratliff. NBA TV is your all-access channel for everything basketball. Tune in every morning to NBA TV Daily and NBA TV Fantasy Hoops for in-depth recap of all of the night's action. NBA TV all day, all night, all basketball. Nuggets down 2, Anthony. Nene who's on, and Anthony drops another one, so perhaps Carmelo Anthony is starting to heat up.
Last year in a critical game against Portland, it was Carmelo Anthony dropping a huge jump shot over his defense. And Patterson and Anthony have words.
And the foul is called on Anthony. That's his third.
But a screen frees him, and the rest is all Melo.
And now he'll have to mellow out on the bench as he walks off Brian Russell in. 3 fouls on Anthony. Zach Randolph coming in for Portland. He said, well,
I was just getting hot. Let me have a little bit more time. The coach is telling him, we need you later. He said, you don't need me now?
Well, I mean, the question is, we're in the second half, so is 3 fouls too many at this stage?
Well, the way he's playing, you would say no. Patterson.
Yep.
Because he's just got his first couple of buckets. He's had no rebounds. He hasn't been a big factor on the game. Let him stay out there. Use them all.
Andre Miller with Stoudemire on him. About 4 minutes left in the third. Boykins guarded by Van Exel. Kenyon Martin draws the crowd.
During that break, Presvilla went out of the ball game, and Zach Randolph snuck in. Martin, another jumper.
And he missed it with 2 to shoot, but Miller tracks down the rebound. Miller over Stoudemire.
All night long. Wow. Andre Miller, he has been able to just raise up and thump on Damon. 8 1/4.
18 in the game. Whenever I work a Denver game, he never has a bad game. He always has a big offensive game, just like tonight. Stoudemire works free.
It sounds
rebounded
like
by Martin.
an advertisement to work more Denver games to me, senor.
It's just a fact. Andre Miller recovers. There's Nene at the rim. And a foul called. Offensive foul on Nene.
And I'm sure Kiki Vandeweghe and Stan Kroenke, the owner, they heard that and they'll ask for Durham. Watch Nene put that arm out and just press down on Theo Ratliff.
66 all. Stoudemire hounded by Boykins. Randolph had it taken away by Martin. And then Boykins had a pass knocked away. It goes out of bounds. We have a timeout taken. The Blazers and the Nuggets all squared up at 66.
Where defenders have gotten very clever and cute, they've been able to figure out the lob.
Garden in Portland. The Nuggets and Blazers all tied. Come Friday night, ESPN with an NBA doubleheader. It starts at 7 Eastern. Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavs take on Jermaine O'Neal and the Pacers. Then Kevin Garnett and the Timberwolves look to turn things around at home, and they host Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming of the Rockets. That one on ESPN in high definition. I tell you what, we've got 4 front court players Friday night, Snapper, and they all have their own individual talents.
Well, what we have on Coast to Coast Friday is size, quickness, foot speed, ability to shoot outside, to play inside. They have it all. Very talented Friday night, and somehow we got left out.
We got left out.
Out.
I don't know about you, but I'm going to be there. Here's Boykins against Stoudemire.
You didn't tell me.
8 to shoot. Then you've got time to recover and make your way to Minneapolis. That's a foul on Ratliff as he uprooted Nene on a move across the lane. Theo Ratliff. That's 2 fouls on Ratliff. 14 fouls. 2:34 left in the third. Brian Russell. Boykins with 5 to shoot. Martin against Miles. Martin.
He's made that shot tonight, but again, that's where you want Martin, because now there are no second attempts. 4 1/4 for Martin.
Just about 2 minutes left in the third, and the Blazers need a hoop to tie. Carmelo Anthony making his way to the scorer's table for the Nuggets. Ratliff had it taken away, and now he's called for an offensive foul. 3 fouls on Theo. Telfair returning for Portland. As you see, Carmelo Anthony coming back for Denver.
Anthony's back in. Sebastian Telfair enters the game. They quickly rush Pressvilla to the scorer's table for Theo Ratliff, who's picked up that personal foul. 3rd for Ratliff, so he will sit.
Just inside of 2 minutes for the third. And the Nuggets are trying to extend on their 2-point lead. Back ball, man. It's Russell. That's Martin. Stoudemire surveys the scene, finds Telfair. Oh, a nice delivery into Randolph.
What they have not been able to do is get the transition game going consistently against the Nuggets. One of the things that Carl told his team, that you will sit if you don't run back defensively. That was hope.
And then they rebounding the Telfair miss. And Kenyon Martin. We get Kenyon Martin for an offensive foul. 3 fouls on Martin.
Martin giving Joe DeRosa that look like that's my move. I get to come up and under and knock the guy down.
Not tonight. Stoudemire being defended by Boykins. Telfair around the pick by Pressvilla.
Randolph wants the ball in the post. Let's see if they give him a chance to do anything with it against Kenyon Martin.
5 to shoot for him. And Kenyon Martin knocks it out of bounds with 4 on the shot clock.
One of Martin's strengths as a defender is his ability to play defense with his hands. Karl Malone is probably the best ever at a power forward position of slapping the ball away, and Martin does that quite a bit.
Randolph. And the rebound taken away by Russell. See how Denver manages the clock in the final minute. Boykins doesn't get the bounce. Darius Miles the rebound.
Where Miles is very good is when he rebounds and pushes, but this is a trot, and so Portland will have to do their half-court set and pick and roll.
Stoudemire against Russell, who dropped back trying to get the call, and that opened it up for Stoudemire.
8 1/4 for Stoudemire.
68 all. The shot clock at 19, about 2 difference. pass going cross court. Now Boykins up the middle.
Tough bank shot, but he's got that in his repertoire and gets that one to dance in against the shot clock.
Telfair had it knocked loose. And the Anthony shot finds the glass, but nothing else. So it remains a closely contested game here at the Rose Garden. The offense has dropped off a little bit. After 3 quarters, the Denver Nuggets looking for 4 wins in a row, even with Carmelo Anthony having an off night, still lead it by 2. And George Karl and the Denver Nuggets have been pretty good when leading after 3. And the Blazers have not been very good when trailing after 3. Boykins at the point for Denver as the 4th quarter is underway. Russell finds Anthony. And the rebound to Prisbilla. Sebastian Telfair.
With Telfair, Randolph, and Miles, they have more one-on-one play, and a nice nifty move by Telfair to open the court. And less taxing, more dribbling, and we'll see how that translates here in the 4th.
Boykins around the Martin screen, and on screen roll, Martin with a nice delivery to Nene. And now let's check in with Mark Jones.
Yeah, guys, Maurice Cheeks, the head coach of Portland, has been looking for sources of information throughout this tumultuous time, and he got 2 very special ones. One of them was a phone call from his former mentor, Billy Cunningham, and former coach with the Philadelphia 76ers. That was last Friday. Then a unique one. This message in a book form. Nick Van Exel, his own point guard, bought him a book called Today Matters by John C. Maxwell, and Cheeks has been picking through it for little motivational sayings to pass on back to his players, guys.
Trailblazers have taken the 1-point lead. Telfair with 5 points. And there's the jam on the follow by Nene.
Well, what makes that interesting is we've all known how volatile Nick Van Exel has been through the course of his career. And the ups and downs that he's had, and time has brought him wisdom, and he's done a much better job of being an inspirational leader.
Telfair, contact, blocking foul call. Brian Russell called for the foul, his second. Sideline out of bounds for the Blazers. We've played not quite 2 minutes here in the 4th as the Nuggets cling to a 1-point lead. Stoudemire back out to Telfair. Telfair off penetration. Fouled by Russell again, this time in the act of shooting. 3 fouls on Brian Russell.
Telfair has tremendous quickness and ability to get by his man, and that's what he's demonstrated here at the start of the 4th quarter. And the Nuggets have had trouble reeling him in, and he'll go to the line, but he scored 5 quick points trying to get to 7 at the line.
Telfair, a rookie point guard. I can't think of a better coach to break into the NBA under than that guy, Maurice Cheeks, one of the great point guards in NBA history. There you see Telfair coming out of high school. The numbers he put up. Well, we've had a number of lead changes and a number of ties throughout the game. The biggest lead tonight, a 7-point lead for the Blazers. Boykins lost his footing. They haven't lost the ball. And Camby drives on Prisbilla. Nene trying to rebound over Randolph. Out of bounds to Denver. .22 on the shot clock for the Nuggets. Carmelo Anthony looking to bring it in play. Here at the Rose Garden, good crowd on hand. Jim Durham with Mark and Steve Jones. And the Portland Trailblazers, led by Nick Van Exel in scoring tonight, looking for the lead this possession.
Randolph Miles has not been the factors that they were here in the second appearance as they were in the first. Miles came in, immediately dropped in 2-3 shots. Randolph finally got off the snide, but they're having difficulty getting them involved here in the fourth quarter.
The inbounds comes to Priscilla. Now Telfair. Here goes Randolph against Nene. And it's tipped in by Nene, it looked like.
Priscilla will get
credit for it. See, again, hang around the rim, good things will happen to you. Anthony. Randolph the rebound. Telfair throws ahead to Miles. Underneath to Randolph. And on the rebound, a loose ball foul called. It's on Denver. Marcus Camby picking up the foul and a timeout with 8:39 left. The Blazers have the 2-point lead with 8:39 left, and to have an inside presence tonight, Joel Prisbilla.
Well, before Prisbilla's arrival here in Portland, he was mostly noted as a guy that got more fouls per minute than anybody else in the league. And Maurice Cheeks has sold him and his teammates on finding a way to bring Joel Prisbilla into the game by getting the ball to him in front of the rim where he can do something with it. Joe, you block shots, you rebound, and you get a positive contribution. Headed for another double-double if they give him just one more dunk.
And hasn't missed a shot tonight. A perfect 4 for 4 working for the fifth-year player from Minnesota.
And every player needs to find an identity. Every player needs to find a coach that will give them something they can hang their hat on and be a part of the team, and that's what's happened for Joe Prisbilla here in Portland.
Such a simple suggestion. Just go stand around the rim. I guarantee you, at 7-1, good things will happen to you. That's what Maurice Cheeks said, and that's exactly how it's worked out. Prisbilla controls the rebound.
You know, and one thing, and George Karl was the coach that drafted Prisbilla, and Prisbilla was never comfortable in Milwaukee. That one's blocked.
By Nene. And during that Nuggets huddle, during the last timeout, Mark Jones, what did they have to say?
Yeah, interesting, guys. This game is really ground into a half-court game, but during the last timeout, George Karl imploring his team to keep pushing the tempo. He looked at Earl Boykins and said, hey, don't be afraid to run just because it's the fourth quarter. Back to you guys.
Camby finds Russell. And Camby with the offensive rebound.
Now, Portland's got to have that rebound, and they don't. And Camby puts it back in.
So Camby's got 10 points tonight. 7:30 for the fourth. And a tie game.
Generally, in a game like this, the team that is able to generate the cheap points and the easy offense is the one that ends up the victor. Telfair.
4-3. Sebastian Telfair with his second three-pointer. And he's been a huge part of the Portland offense here in the fourth.
9 points in the quarter and 2 threes.
And 7 minutes left. Boykins. Anthony's pass through the hands of Camby. They've got 4 to shoot. Anthony wide open for 3. And it hops over the backboard, out of bounds to Portland. Carmelo Anthony, 2 for 11.
Miles has always been an unselfish player and will always try to pass and find the open player and hits the wide open Telfair to give Portland that three-point advantage. Miles' concern is not playing with his teammates. It's the style of play. And this is an improvisational kind of player who really dances to a different drummer. And when he's on, he's really on. And when he's off, watch out.
Well, he's working here on Anthony. And he controls the rebound. Stoudemire. Picked up Miles. points of the second half. And Portland has a 5-point lead. Its biggest in the first half was 7. Anthony knocked out of bounds by the Blazers.
Miles does so many things with such ease. You're never really sure what is the effort quotient that he's putting out, but Portland got big relief on that one again, right over the top.
And that's 20 points for Andre Miller, keeping Denver within 3. Here goes Miles again. Chris Villa with a tap out, controlled by Anthony. Miller off the scoop.
Didn't have enough to finish that. That last possession, Randolph brought his man right into the offensive effort to Darius Miles, so he didn't get a chance to really get work. Randolph really wants the hoop this time. Wants it back.
Tough though against Nene. And Nene called for the foul. That'll get Randolph on the line to shoot 2. George Karl saying he had all ball. George Karl wants that 4th win in a row tonight with 5:18 left. A timeout taken.
The studio as we take a look at the top stories from the night. Headlines from Indiana, where the Raptors were down 1 before Stephen Jackson fouled Jalen Rose with .4 left. Rose hit the free throws. Indiana couldn't come up with the miracle. It's their first 5-game home losing streak since 1986. In Boston, Nets win streak comes to an end, largely at the hands of Paul Pierce, who had a triple-double through 3 quarters. And in Minnesota, Suns' 8th straight game with at least 10 3-pointers. They routed the Timberwolves in Minnie.
And here in Portland, the Trailblazers with a 3-point lead. George Karl talking to Joe DeRosa. He didn't feel that last foul called on Nene was warranted. And the big problem that he has is that Denver now has 14 fouls and Portland has none.
Well,
5:18 left.
You know, what we've found in recent history in the NBA is most NBA teams don't recognize they have this huge advantage. And the next thing you know, they both have 14 fouls and no one has gone into penalty. Randolph gets the first, and we'll find out whether the Portland is thinking 5:18 to go. The easiest way to score is at the free throw line. Randolph finally gets 2, and his first 2 since intermission.
12 points in the game. 5-point lead for the Blazers. Just about 5 minutes left. Miller against Van Exel. Martin works on Randolph. Followed in by Nene.
And that's one thing Nene does very well. If you do not box him, he's going to chase it, and he will put it down with some authority. So Nene in here, in the 4th quarter, and you can see why George Karl wants to keep him out on the floor.
Chris Villa. Darius Miles, 10 on the shot clock. Miles against Carmelo Anthony. Knocked loose. Denver the steal. Miller.
Again.
22 for Andre Miller. And the Nuggets are back to within 1 with 4:17 remaining.
Now Van Exel told Zach Randolph, calm down, we'll get you the ball. Let's see if he makes it happen. They tried to find Chris Villa at the rim, and twice now the Nuggets have stripped the ball.
And this time they have a chance to regain the lead. Less than 4 minutes for the 4th. Ruben Patterson ready to come back for Portland. Anthony against Miles, and a foul on Miles. Miles has his first team foul on Portland in the 4th.
Miles will set Patterson back in. Russell goes out, and it looks like Camby is coming in the game.
And Carmelo Anthony is on the free throw line for the first time tonight. A 77% free throw shooter. Has a chance to put the Nuggets back in front. Best he can do is tie.
So Camby comes in. Nene goes out.
Carmelo Anthony, one more free throw. Anthony with just 4 points scored.
And they were back to that jumper, picked up his third foul, and went back into the deep freeze.
Don't forget Thursday on TNT, the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Heat at 8 o'clock Eastern, followed by Spurs and Lakers. ESPN Friday, the Mavericks and the Pacers at 7 Eastern, the Rockets and the T-Wolves to follow. And on NBA TV Saturday, Orlando at Cleveland at 7:30 Eastern. And here we get a whistle.
A broken play, and the ball came back to Ruben Patterson, hit by Kenyon Martin, so he'll go to the line.
4 fouls on Martin and 5 team fouls on Denver.
Took Portland just about 2 minutes to get to that penalty. 5:18, they were at 4. 3:28 to go here in the game. Patterson will shoot.
And he's now 3 for 5 from the line. He made his first 3 tonight. Ruben Patterson shoots less than 60% from the foul line.
So he's at it, or he's near it now.
He is slightly above. And the lead is back to 2. Earl Boykins at the point against Stoudemire. And off the ball, we get a defensive 3-second call against the Blazers.
Joe Freshvilla looking to help out. Got caught. And with some help from Kenyon Martin, the official makes the call.
And Earl Boykins, one of the top free throw shooters in the league, shoots defective. Perfect 3 for 3 tonight for Boykins. Shoots better than 92%. Orange cheeks trying to guide his team home here in front of the home fans. They lead by 1, 15 to shoot for Denver. Boykins using Anthony. Anthony slipped the screen that time. And then a hand check foul called on Stoudemire.
Quickness, Boykins on display as he changed directions a couple of times and just kept the pressure on Damon Stoudemire. And anytime a guy that small, that clever, can dance with the ball this long, bad things are going to happen to the defense. As you can see, Stoudemire trying to get around those screens, couldn't keep his feet moving.
2 team fouls and a pass out of bounds. Ooh, that was a bullet that Anthony fired in there on Kenyon Martin.
That is the kind of pass that Roethlisberger should have thrown against the Patriots.
Give it up, Lee.
No!
The best teams are in the Super Bowl. The shot clock at 10. Van Exel with 4 to shoot. Stoudemire's shot blocked by Boykins.
What a save.
Earl Boykins at 5'5" got Damon Stoudemire's shot to force a shot clock violation. A 1-point lead with 2:35 left. When you look at the leading scorers in this game, Andre Miller with 22 for Denver. Nick Van Exel with 22 for Portland. Conspicuous by his absence, Carmelo Anthony. He has just 4 points in Snapper. That was number 2 on their list.
Well, as we look at it, someone didn't try to get Carmelo Anthony off, or they didn't stay with it, and so he has struggled.
4 points and 1 rebound for Carmelo Anthony. Now, what that also says is Denver can hang in a game when he's not performing at what he's capable of performing at.
Only you could go to the other side.
I believe you lose something to think about.
The guy that has been really tough for Portland has been Andre Miller. Missed there and a rare one from 15 feet and in. Patterson with the rebound.
Now the Blazers have a chance to extend on the lead. We've had 10 ties tonight. 21 lead change.
I've always felt in tight games, close games, you need to be more aggressive offensively. You need to play quicker. Portland's playing against the clock.
Oh, a big hit for Van Russell. He had not scored since early in the second half prior to dropping that one in. 5 3-point field goals for Nick Van Exel. Martin the rebound. Can be open. Chris Villa clears in a crowd.
Huge rebound for Joe Presvilla in traffic and gives Portland a chance to build on their lead.
Stoudemire around the Patterson pick. Underneath is Randolph. Randolph on the follow. Timeout Denver. They roar their approval at the Rose Garden as the Trailblazers have taken the 1-point lead out to 6. Trailblazers with a 6-point lead, and the Trailblazers have a foul to give with less than 2 minutes remaining.
Well, it comes down to this. The Nuggets are 28th in three-point shooting, so they're going to have some quick-hitting plays in order to get back in this ball game. If you're Portland, you want to make them use every second on the 24-second clock. Miles trying to check back in the game. Presvilla will sit as the Nuggets go small, and Miles will defend Ryan Russell.
You know, Denver is down by 6 with 1:23 left. If you get to the point where you have to have a 3, remember, they do not shoot threes very well. As a team, just a little over 30%. Russell for 3.
The danger of trying to get that three-point shot that quickly, and you don't get it and you foul, is you give the opponent a chance to build on the lead. Martin over the back. Randolph will come back to the free throw line.
That's 5 fouls on Kenyon Martin. And Zach Randolph on the line is an 80% free throw shooter on the year who hasn't missed in tonight's game, 4 for 4. 1:12 left. Portland has equaled its largest lead.
That one got away from him, so you've got 5 1/4, 15 in the game.
Earl Boykins around a double pick. And Boykins would be the logical choice to open up for a 3 should they go that way. Miller.
They've used too much time to try to get it away. Anthony deep and a miss.
Martin the offensive rebound, 50 seconds. Miller for 3. They get the 3 from Andre Miller.
Miller has been the man for them when they needed the bucket the most. 7 1/4, 25 on the night as they try to chase down Stoudemire.
And a personal foul called on Denver. NBA Fast Break coming up next with Matt Weiner, Greg Anthony, and Tim Legler when we're through here in the Pacific Northwest. And it's Damon Stoudemire going to the free throw line. Stoudemire 93%, 2 for 2 tonight. 38.7 remaining. Stoudemire with a 15-point game working.
And his first here in the 4th. So he had a couple of big threes in the 3rd.
And he also has handed out 10 assists.
Remember what George Karl told us about Andre Miller or Earl Boykins. If they get 10 assists, they win. Miller is stuck at 9.
And has been stuck at 9 since the start of the 4th quarter. A timeout taken. 38.7 left, and the Trailblazers on top by 6, 92-86. You know, as we've gone on in this game, Snapper, you've been talking about how this Portland team, because of the injuries that they had to Randolph and Miles, started to develop an identity. And I think in this game have seen that identity.
No, that is, and that's been the critical thing for them to figure out who they are and how they can play and compete every night. Now they know Now they've got to convince the other guys to join the party, because screening, passing is the easiest way to play the game. It's not necessarily the most fun for a guy who can go one-on-one.
But if they're willing to put forth this kind of effort and willing to play this style of basketball, then I guess my next question is, can they, in the Western Conference, make it into the playoff tournament?
Well, hope springs eternal. And as long as someone is not eliminated, they feel that they can. They're sitting in the number 12 hole right now. And Denver's in front of them, Clippers and Minnesota. Minnesota had a little breakout and won 4 games in a row. Looked like they were on their way up, and now they're surging back toward the bottom. So there's still plenty of season ahead, and teams that have an opportunity to try to fight their way in.
It's going to be tight to see who finishes in the bottom rungs in the Western Conference.
What's interesting about that graphic is Portland and Denver came down to the final, next to the last day of the season last year to determine whether Portland was in or Denver was out, and they may end up in a similar position again this year.
The Trailblazers up by 6, less than 40 seconds remaining.
The Trailblazers need a little bit of everything in this recipe for winning tonight, and the big hitter in the fourth quarter was the rookie, Sebastian Telfair. Telfair came up with 2 big threes, 9 points in the quarter, and he is on the bench now.
Carmelo Anthony to throw in for the Nuggets. 14.7 difference. Quick look at a 3 by Boykins. It fell shy of the rim. Randolph took it down and was fouled by Miller. So back to the other end, Zach Randolph, good free throw shooter, will be on the line. Carmelo Anthony's nightmare continues. 2 for 13 from the field and 1 rebound.
Unless somebody gives him something, this could be his new season low. But, you know, this is a season, and it's a watershed season for him early in his career of what kind of basketball player is he going to be? Is he going to be able to figure out different ways to score, to be an offensive factor, or is everything going to always have to be driven through him?
Well, now it's an 8-point lead for the Trailblazers. 32 seconds left. Kenyon Martin fouled by Patterson. Remember, they had one to take.
I don't understand the have one to take when you're ahead. I don't understand that rule. Help me understand that. Why not just let the clock run?
Russell is in. Camby is out. Yeah, because and another thing it does now enables George Karl make the substitution he wants. 18 to shoot.
The Nuggets haven't had the execution, so Portland isn't going to be hurt by that foul to give, but you always want to keep the ball moving. Anthony.
There's the 3 he was looking for. But it's a 5-point game with 18 seconds left. Stoudemire throws it across midcourt, knocked out of bounds by Denver. With 12.3 left, all the Blazers have to do is get it in bounds and kill the clock.
So the 3-game winning streak will come to an end for the Denver Nuggets, and George Karl will have a few days off to try to regroup his team as Martin fouls out.
Kenyon Martin with 12 points. So the first defeat for George Karl as head coach of the Denver Nuggets. But you're right about that, Snapper. We talked about it earlier in the game. They do have 3 days off after tonight, and then another 3 days before the game after that. So it was a rush, get the team to the practice court. They didn't have much practice time. They had to play a lot of games, but now at least the schedule spreads out somewhat for them.
And Karl is one who believes that the schedule is going to be more favorable for the team and him as a coach, and he'll be able to put some things in that will make them a better basketball team.
Zach Randolph making the first of 2. 11.5 seconds left.
At the end of the day, it'll look like Randolph had a pretty good game. 9 here in the quarter and 19 in the game, but it has been a hard 19 for Zach Randolph.
Timeout taken. It's a 20-second timeout taken by the Nuggets. 11.5 left. Denver goes home and plays Golden State on Saturday. On Friday night here, the Trailblazers will host the Charlotte Bobcats. You doing that game,
No, I thought I was going to Minnesota with you.
You're going to Minnesota with me. That's right. I didn't know if you had made up your mind yet which you wanted to do. You had sent me off on my own earlier. That's why I was wondering. Nuggets to throw in.
I wanted to see if the invitation was still open.
It's
when
open.
We talked about the coast to coast, and you know we are going to a frigid place.
Yes, we are. Russell hits the three. 7.4 left. And a foul stops the clock and puts the Blazers back on the free throw line, where they now lead by 4. So this Denver team, which we've been talking about all night, not being a very good three-point shooting team, has been a pretty good three-point shooting team tonight.
Well, what they're trying to do is extend the game and keep hope alive, and hoping that somehow they can get some miracle finish. So Van Exel, who does not shoot the traditional free throw, about 2.5, 3 feet behind the line, applies.
But shoots it at an 80% clip.
The dagger. And we'll keep it a 2-possession game.
No timeouts left.
You know, Van Exel developed this free throw style a couple of years ago, because he wasn't making them up close. He pulled a Wilt Chamberlain and moved further back, and it's been successful. Miller.
And with 1/10 of a second left, and now the game is over, and the Trailblazers have the victory. Nick Van Exel finished up with 26 points. Randolph had 19. Stoudemire had 17 to lead Portland to victory. 97-94. A Trailblazer.